Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to be focusing on negative indices. Now in terms of 5.2, this is probably the one area where a lot of boys do struggle. So don't worry if you don't get it straight away. We'll work on it this year, we'll work on it next year, but hopefully we'll get better. Now one of the things I want you to do on your calculator, gents, is I want you to type in 3 to the power of negative 1. I want you to type in 5 to the power of negative 1. I want you to type in, let's say, 10 to the power of negative 1. And what I would like you to do is see what type of answers. Maybe pause it and see what you come up with. How'd you go? 1 over 3, 1 over 5, 1 over 10. Very interesting, right? Looking at those numbers without the use of a calculator, if I said 7 to the power of negative 1, would you have an idea what to do? Well, hopefully you might say 1 over 7. So at the moment, you're looking at that going, okay, I see a bit of a trend here. What if I did this? What if I said 3 to the power of negative 2? I reckon a lot of you will say 2 over 3, and that's not right. If you do it on the calculator, you'll get 1 over 9. And now you start thinking, okay, this looks weird. How do you get 1 over 9? Because they all had to the power of 1. That's obviously the 1 on top, and then the numbers on the bottom. Shouldn't it be 2 on the top? And the thing is, that 1 is not what's on top. In fact, the negative here means the 1 over. That's what means the 1 over. Which means whatever is left over, let's do this in green, 3 to the power of 1 is what's on the bottom. But the thing is, when you have 3 to the power of 1, we don't really write 3 to the power of 1, we write 3. Likewise, 5 to the power of 1, we just write 5. 10 to the power of 1, we just write 10. 7 to the power of 1, we just write 7. 3 to the power of 2, we write 9. Okay, so what would happen if you had 5 to the power of negative 2? Do you reckon you can know what that one's going to be? Hopefully you said 1 over, which of course, that's the little minus sign. And then 5 squared is 25, and that would give you the correct answer. So what this all comes down to is a nice little rule that says a to the negative m equals 1 over a to the power of m. And again, that's a nice little rule that you would like to write down to help you. Now, we're going to do some pretty basic ones today. We're going to focus on the basic ones. So things like for us, we're going to do algebra, and we're going to say, write a to the negative 2 with a positive indice. The negative means 1 over, and whatever's left, a squared, that's it. If I say q to the negative 1, the negative means 1 over, q to the power of 1. What if I did this? 5x to the power of negative 1. Interesting. What's the negative 1 working on? Well, it's only working on the x, which means we've got 5 times x to the negative 1. Now, if I look at this, negative means 1 over x, which means if I now look at this and say 5 times 1 is 5, we actually get this answer here. Now, there's another way that I like to look at it, and I find particularly in this level, this makes it a bit easier. Whenever you have a negative indice, right, it just goes downstairs. So for example, we have a 1 a to the negative 2. The a to the negative 2 goes downstairs and becomes positive. If I have 1 q to the negative 1, the q to the power of 1 just goes downstairs. If I have 5x to the negative 1, the x to the power of 1 just goes downstairs. So if I have something that says like 9a to the negative 3, the a to the negative 3 goes downstairs, and I'm left with 9 over a to the 3. Which means if I have a really hard question, which I'm probably going a bit above here, and said 2 over a to the negative 4, well, it's already downstairs, the negative, so what we do, we bring it upstairs, and we make it 2a to the power of 4. It's a bit confusing, that last one, okay? Thankfully, we don't go too hard too soon. Now, the other way we look at it, we can give you the fraction, for example, 1 over a, and we can say write with a negative indice, which means it's just a to the negative 1. I could give you 1 over q to the power of 3 and say write with a negative indice. Well, the q comes upstairs, and when it comes back upstairs, that's what happens, it goes negative. So I like this upstairs, downstairs thing. If you've got a negative indice upstairs, you bring it downstairs and make it positive. If it's already downstairs, you bring it upstairs, okay? All right, I want you to pause. I understand this is hard, I get that. I want you to try your best. Pause it, just see what you come up with. Okay, how did you go? The negative means 1 over 4 to the power of 1, or 1 over 4. The next one, the negative means 1 over 3 to the power of 2, or better, 1 over 9. Do you have to simplify? You do. Next one, negative means 1 over a to the power of 2. The next one, we have 3 times a to the negative 4, which means we have 3 times 1 over a to the 4, which means we have 3 over a to the 4. But as I said before, if you have a negative indice like that, it just goes downstairs and makes it 3 over a to the power of 4. It just comes underneath and the negative disappears. So basically the negative disappears and you pull it downstairs and it makes it nice. Now these ones, we do the opposite. That's 2 to the power of 1 underneath, right? Let's bring it upstairs, and instead of now being positive, I bring it back upstairs, it now becomes negative. Underneath, a little bit harder, you could write 25 to negative 1, technically speaking, right? But I want to go better, because 1 over 25 means 1 over 5 squared. The 5 squared comes up, and what happens? It makes it to the negative. The next one, the a comes upstairs, makes it a to the negative 1 because it's a to the power of 1. Q to the power of 2 comes upstairs, it makes it q to the negative 2. And that's it. My upstairs, downstairs rule, I like it. Now, of course, it is hard. I'm not saying it's not, I know it is, but I want you to give your best foot forward and have a crack at these questions today and really try hard. Talk to some of the other boys if you need some help, but apart from that, just practice makes perfect. Have a wonderful day, gents.